22nd, 2024 Planning and Zoning Board meeting. We now have a quorum, and I would like to welcome our new ETJ member, Lauren Cummins, to the board. Welcome. And are there any changes to the agenda? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
I make a motion to accept the agenda as presented.
Second. Okay. Motion made by Karen, I wrote that down. And second by Darrell. And all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Nay. Conflict of interest statement. In accordance with North Carolina Government Ethics Act, it is the duty of every board member to avoid both conflict of interest and appearance of conflict, and are instructed to refrain from participating in any matter coming before this board if there is a conflict of interest or appearance of conflict of interest. If a board member has a known conflict of interest or appearance of conflict with respect to any matter coming before this board today, please identify the conflict and refrain from participating in the matter involved. Does any member of the board have a conflict of interest in any matter coming before the board today? Is there a motion to approve the regular minutes of May 28, 2024?
Make a motion to approve the regular minutes of May 28th, 2024.
Okay. Motion by Karen, second by Darrell. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, signify by saying nay. Old business, we have none. Under new business, case number RZ 2406, Town of Troutman, request to revert 2.63 acres located at 524 Autumn Leaf Road back to its original zoning designation of suburban residential from conditional zoning highway business. We'll now turn it over to Andrew.
Thank you. I hope everybody's doing well tonight. Our first case is a rezoning case. As stated, applicant is the Town of Troutman. The owner is Callard Land Management LLC. Current zoning is conditional zoning highway business, or CZHB. The request is to rezone the property to suburban residential, which was its original zoning designation. The proposed use of the property will be single-family residential. The size is 2.63 acres. And I just wanted to point out that UDO section 9.8.4J1 states that the town has the right to initiate rezoning back to the original designation on conditional zonings if nothing is done within 2 years. This property was originally zoned in 2016, and we've had no activity on it. Location is on the northern side of Autumn Leaf Road. It's just to the east of its intersection with Perth Road, as you can see on the map in front of you. Current zoning, it is conditional zoning, highway business, which is the orange shade. The property is outlined in red. What you see in pink is adjacent. That's conditional zoning, mixed residential. The Calvin Creek subdivision is to the north. An Autumn Leaf Townhome subdivision that was recently approved is to the west. And mainly single-family residential uses to the east. This was a site plan that was approved with the conditional zoning. There's basically 2 lots to be built as highway business, and the list of uses with that conditional zoning was included in your packet. So if you have any question on those uses, they're sitting in your packet in front of you, and we can discuss those. Land use map shows this area as being neighborhood commercial, which is the outline here in the orangish color. To the north is medium density residential, and to the south is a special lakes district. Current zoning, highway business is to provide a wide array of primarily retail and service uses to a large trading area for persons residing in and or traveling through Troutman. The permitted uses per this condition, again, are included in your packet. So highway business is a pretty intense business district. It's usually what we see out by exit 42. The proposed zoning, suburban residential, this is established as a district in which the principal use of land is for low-density single-family residences. Basically, what's allowed here by right is single-family residential at half-acre lot size. And they're typical accessory uses. land use plan calls for the area to be neighborhood commercial. Neighborhood commercial is a smaller commercial district. They're located at the intersections of minor arterials, and they're designed to be accessible by walking, bicycling, and auto modes, mainly just to serve the nearby residential communities. The recommendation from staff is to approve this request to revert the property back to its original zoning designation. Council will make the final determination at the August 8th meeting. And I do also want to say that since the designation is neighborhood commercial, by reverting this back to suburban residential, if we get a application that comes in that specifically targets neighborhood commercial, we would be able to go back at that time and look at that specifically. So I think this fits basically what we're looking to do here, and it gives whoever comes back to develop this property the chance to develop it in line with our land use plan. And that's the end of this one. I'll take any questions the board may have.
Anyone have any questions for Andrew?
Mm-mm.
Okay. I'll now open the meeting up for public comment. I don't think we're gonna have any, but Kim, is there any? Okay, I'll now close the public comment time. Any questions from the board at all? Anybody? Okay. Is there a motion regarding recommendation of rezoning RZ 2406?
With regard to case number RZ-24-06, I recommend rezoning as requested to suburban residential.
Okay, motion made by Karen, second by Darrell to approve the rezoning request. RZ 2406, is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed signify by saying nay. Okay, we need a motion regarding consistency statement of RZ 2406.
With regard to case number RZ-24-06, the rezoning the property to suburban residential is not consistent with the 2035 future land use map. It will revert the property to its original zoning designation. Furthermore, the current CZ-HB zoning is also not consistent with the future land use map, and reverting the property to its original designation will permit the property to be zoned to a designation consistent with the map if it ever becomes commercial in the future.
Okay, we have a second? Second. Okay. Motion made by Karen, second by Darrell on the consistency statement for RZ 2406. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed signify by saying nay. Okay, both the rezoning and the consistency statement are unanimous. Case number TA 2406, text amendment to UDO, section 7.7.2 traffic impact analysis. Request to replace section 7.72 with updated language. I will now turn it over to Andrew.
Okay, thank you. This is a request to replace the existing section 7.7.2, which is our TIA requirements. These have been rewritten by Kimley Horn staff, and they're here to give a brief presentation tonight about some of the changes that we're looking to make. I do want to mention that we have Laura Reed and Steve Blakely with Kimley Horn here. The town has entered into a contract with Kimley Horn to be our on-call transportation consultants. So you may be seeing them often for the rezoning cases we have that do have a TIA component to it. So they'll kind of act as an extension of staff. So hopefully now we have somebody that can explain some of the transportation stuff to you that maybe staff was not able to in the past. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Laura, and she's going to go ahead and run through some slides.
Thank you. Hello, and thank you for the introduction, Andrew. My name is Laura Reed, and I am a transportation consultant with Kimley Horn. And so, as Andrew teed off, we are the transportation consultant for the town. And so, really the first piece of us kicking off that process was looking at potential to the TIA ordinance that was already in place. And so what we'll run through today, we just have a couple slides for y'all, but wanted to focus on the major changes from the current process moving into this new ordinance language. So the first of those is the overall process in general. So right now, when an applicant or a developer comes in and they need to do a TIA for a property that they're looking to develop or rezone, they would select their own consultant, they would do the TIA, the town and NCDOT would be involved in that process of reviewing, and then that consultant that was hired by the developer would then come and present to y'all. In this new model, us as the on-call consultant would replace that third-party consultant doing the traffic study. So we would, as Andrew said, serve as an extension of staff, and the town would hire us to perform the traffic study at cost to the developer, so there's no additional cost to the town. And then we would perform the TIA process very similar to how it is done now. And then at the end of that process, again, as Andrew alluded to, we would then be presenting back to y'all the findings of the study and the recommendations. And so that keeps some consistency in the faces that you're seeing, the staff that are working on these projects, and make sure that that knowledge base that's developed on one project is carried across all of the projects that are being performed and all the studies that are being performed within the town. The next item that is a little bit of a change in this new update is the TIA threshold. So what warrants a TIA, what makes it needed to be performed. Right now, you'll have a table in your ordinance that we have on the slides that breaks it down by land use type and the number of units, and what level of study. And while that's probably more helpful for developers to know exactly when a traffic study is required, it definitely makes it more clunky to kind of track through and figure out what level of study is needed. And so we've simplified it in this updated ordinance and just made it 100 peak hour trips and 1,000 daily trips, which equates very similarly to when a TIA was required before, but it just makes it clean and simple. Everybody has the exact same threshold.
Just a question. How do you know you have that many trips that you did the TIA?
So when a new development comes in, Andrew would reach out to us and we would run a quick trip generation to know where we fall against those thresholds.
You'd be the determiner.
Yes, yeah. And we base all that trip generation on industry standards, so it would be consistent with how the trip generation is determined for any study. But building upon that, the new ordinance also includes some flexibility in when a study can be required. So in addition to those trip generation numbers, there are several different triggers that could allow the town to require a traffic study. So whether that is impact to adjacent neighborhoods, existing traffic concerns, safety issues, changes in land use from the current land use plan, anything that would create that kind of concern from the town of this is a higher traffic generator than what is planned in this area, there's already some existing issues, there's more flexibility in this new ordinance to require a traffic study in those instances, even if it doesn't quite hit that 1,000 daily 400 peak hour number. Another element that will be new in this updated ordinance is the introduction of a transportation mitigation agreement, or TMA. So that's not in the current guidelines, but in this update, that would be a new component that happens at the end of every traffic study. And so after we get through the TIA, we would develop the TMA that outlines the development plan, the phasing and timing of the development, so when they actually plan to construct all the different aspects of the development, what their site access points will look like, when phasing within the development, and that ties into those trigger points and deadlines for construction of those improvements. So gives a binding document for when all of those offsite improvements are going to be required relative to the development. Another new component would be payment in lieu. And so not in the current guidelines, but in this update, the developer will have the opportunity to request a payment in lieu if they have either issues obtaining right-of-way, or if there's overlap with their improvements and a funded DOT project or town-funded project. It does require that they would come back to council for approval if they wanted to go that payment in lieu option, but provide some flexibility in cases where it may not be efficient for them to construct something while a DOT project is underway, or where they may be tied up in tight right-of-way situations.
What guarantee do we have that it actually happens after they've paid the money?
You mean the funded project?
Well, let's just say they can't get some right away and they pay the town in lieu of doing the work, and then what happens? And we have potentially have grants for sidewalks and other things that the town's been sitting on for 5+ years or longer that that probably won't ever happen now because the price of everything's gone so far that the grant doesn't cover it. So if that were to happen with a developer and where we take payment at 2024 prices in lieu of actually doing the work, and then what happens?
So I think that will be part of that payment in lieu process of how feasible it is to actually construct the improvement at that point in time. I don't know that we run into the unable to secure right-of-way piece as often as the DOT project piece, and in those instances,
That makes sense.
they would be paying into a pot for it to get incorporated
Yep.
into the project.
And we don't have that option today, but that is happening. I mean, there's been a number of situations. It was said to have happened in this room. Whether it happened or not, I don't know. But I'm just concerned that you get into a situation where that starts to get abused in some way where it's too hard to do. So when we pay the town, instead of going through the exercise, sure, developer would much rather do that.
And then that's where I think the unable to secure right-of-way, where it will come down probably to Andrew and our team having some of those conversations with the developer to make sure they've gone through an adequate number of attempts to attain the right-of-way. And as part of the payment in lieu process, there are various stages through that plan development that they'll need to be updating and creating cost estimates for those improvements. So that would probably be something we can talk through at that point in time of what's the actual timeline of construction to make sure that an inflation of those prices gets built in.
But long term, that wording would be in something that we would adopt.
Yes, so there is language specific to that in this new EDF.
So, Laura, maybe another thing. So another qualifier is, let's just say NCDOT, if it's on an NCDOT road, they would have to be part of this as well.
That's true.
Right, to agree to take payment in lieu, because it's their road and they're gonna be part of that DOT piece. But, yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, let's just say it's bullet number 1 that warrants this notion of a payment in lieu, then yes, it's gonna go into a pot of money for y'all, right? And at some point in time, it would be y'all hosting, or the town, or either blended with another developer improvement, or try to generate a TIP funded project, or something like that. You know, you use those funds to create it, but the developer at that point would be free and clear to get their permits to build, and so then that
And then there's no guarantee that it actually ever happens.
correct. Unless if y'all host it and use those funds to go do that, that's where it would be. But yes, it would not happen in this scenario by that particular developer. Yeah.
So Andrew, do you know what mechanism we use today to do similar things? I mean, I can think of at least 2 TIAs that affect the Flower House Loop intersection down by the interstate, and we have said, well, the developer won't be doing that because
Well, as Laura stated, right now we don't have an option to do anything like that, so that's why we're adding this.
So those guys just didn't pay anything then?
DOT said we don't want this because it's not part of this project, and we've got our, what we're doing at, for instance, Flower House and Houston Road. They didn't want part of the problem, part of the project. We didn't have the option to require payment in lieu of for maybe an extension of a turn lane. So, with this new language, we'll be able to require that. And I'll also say with the language in here, you had mentioned 2024 prices, there are contingencies listed in here, depending on what phase of development that project is gonna be at. So we do have, our cost estimate will include contingencies that will, it's hard to predict with inflation and whatnot, what the contingency was to be, what the price will be in 2027, but at least there's some safeguards in this language.
And that cost is also from a detail perspective, right? It is, the planning, the design, the permitting, the right-of-way acquisition. There's still an element of right-of-way acquisition that's gonna be involved to build that project in the future, regardless of who builds it, right? And the construction. So it's a comprehensive way of looking at the cost that would generate the payment in lieu number. So yeah, it technically should be there. So it's like if you invest well, right? I mean, so figure out how can it be invested well or either utilized early for the purpose of, getting to a goal, or either use it to warrant a larger project. Let's just say you go through the design of something, maybe if they're just putting in a right turn lane, but all in all, the better improvement might be convert the whole intersection to a roundabout. Well, then use those funds, design the bigger picture, and then warrant, additional funding from the MPO or something. So I think it gives y'all some flexibility.
I just worry we get funds and we get nobody to execute it, so.
Yeah.
And the payment in lieu option is not something that staff is going to push. I'll just put it that way. It's not something, that's more of a last ditch resort if something else cannot be accomplished.
Yeah.
Well, the first one I have pause about. The second one, especially given what you're telling me about Firehouse Loop, I think that one makes a lot of sense. DOT would have to agree, right? But there are potentially in the next decade a lot of DOT improvement projects that take place. Maybe it's longer than a decade, but
Yeah, it's gonna depend on DOT's funding pot, but
maybe it's gonna take 15 years to get 21 miles.
I think you're being optimistic.
Okay, in the next 2 decades.
In my lifetime.
My children have children.
Any other questions on this one?
Mm-mm.
Okay. So we have one last slide for y'all, maybe a little bonus slide that we didn't have in that initial list, but there's a few other technical components that have changed in this new language versus the original TIA ordinance language. The first being a change in the study area that is required for a traffic study. In the current TIA guidelines, you'll have a different radius of how far out from the site you need to go in terms of your analysis, whether it is a standard TIA or an enhanced TIA. So in this updated language, we've simplified that. Any TIA that's required, we go at least 1 mile out, look at any signalized intersections within that mile, and then we will coordinate with Andrew and his team and NCDOT to determine if there are any other intersections within that radius or beyond that makes sense to include in the study area of the TIA. The mitigation threshold, so when we require mitigation or those off-site improvements, how we determine those has changed in this updated analysis. Currently, the text requires that we look at the volume to capacity ratio, or the V over C of the intersection, and then there's an allowable increase that you can have based off of the current operations of the intersection. And so that is the way that the town's guidelines currently operate, but then NCDOT looks at a level of service or a grading scale. So A to F, kind of like the report card. Um, and so in this updated language, we've converted from that B over C method to level of service. So we're consistent with the NCDOT reporting standards. But where NCDOT will allow you to get to certain increases in delays in level of service, we've made it more conservative. We've made our threshold at D. So if you're at a D and it gets worse at all, mitigation is technically required at that intersection. So we're consistent with NCDOT in the reporting method, but we are more conservative in terms of when we're requiring mitigation compared to the pure NCDOT guidelines. And the last change, we've also added a bicycle and a pedestrian analysis into the scope of all studies. So you'll get your traditional vehicular, how are the cars operating, but we'll also look at bikes and peds, especially with all the existing greenway structure within the town. Any questions?
All right, I have a few.
Okay.
So, I know that when you do your analysis of the trips, you had set aside certain AM and PM peak times. Now, obviously, it's going to be during the school year. What happens if you need to do this during the summer? How do you generate those numbers when school's not in session?
So there are a few options, or maybe a few approaches that we'll look at if a development comes in the summer. The first would be if there have been any studies done within the last year that overlap with the study area, in which case we could use those counts. If not, then we would typically wait until school is back in session to collect counts. So we're really looking at that active window of doing traffic impact analysis is during the school year. And if you come in during the summer, we can run through the scoping process and nail down all the details of what needs to be analyzed, but then we typically would wait till school gets back in to actually pick up the counts.
Okay. And then building on that, I noticed that you have your time frames at 7 to 9 a.m. and 4 to 6 p.m. Schools, almost all of our schools are done. I mean, they've already let out by 4 o'clock. Elementary schools normally let out around 2:30 around here, and your middle and high schools are anywhere between 3 and 3:30. So starting a traffic and that trip count at 4 seems to be a little late in the game because you've already missed that parent traffic. Buses are already out on the route.
So the 7 to 9 and 4 to 6 windows are the, I guess, kind of typical windows that we look at for NCDOT analysis. So that is the morning when folks are going to work, and then the evening when folks are coming home from work. Now, if there are studies in particular that are near schools or that there are concerns around school traffic, we can determine during that scoping process if we need to also add in school release time. So we do a lot of studies where we look at 7 to 9 and 4 to 6, and then we end up also picking up 2 to 4 or 1 to 3, whatever's appropriate for that time frame.
Okay. All right.
Who determines if that's needed?
So that would be part of the scoping process. So after the development comes in, and we review the development and come up with a draft scope, then we typically would have meetings with town, NCDOT, and the applicant to work through what is an appropriate scope for the TIA, which would include what are the appropriate timeframes, what intersections do we need to look at, what years do we need to analyze, all the different components that build up to the final analysis.
I have a question, and this is just to explain something. What is a transportation technical memorandum that can be used in lieu of a TIA?
So that again would probably come to conversations of us with Andrew if a TTM, so that technical memorandum, was more appropriate than a TIA. That would probably be in instances where it is be a very small development, if it doesn't technically meet those trip generation numbers, but there are some of those concerns that we talked through. We have that flexibility to require a TTM instead of the full TIA. And so the scope of that could be really whatever we feel is appropriate. So whether it's a review of the trip generation, review of the routing through the site, analysis of the driveways, review of turn lane warrants at the driveways. It could really take on a multitude of things just depending on what the concerns around the development are from a transportation standpoint.
Okay, thanks.
One question, this is great presentation, Laura. I have one question. You said that you're gonna try to do the TIA during the school year, but we're looking at times from, may not be when the school traffic is coming back. And that'll be a conversation that you and Andrew and staff will have, I got that. But would the project actually be able to hold off until the school year? If the project comes right when the school gets out, how would that be, if there's no previous data?
Yeah, so if there's no previous data, then yes, they probably would have to wait until school is back in session. There's not a great way for us to generate traffic volumes at an intersection and how folks are turning if they're not following your typical traffic patterns. And so that probably would require some coordination amongst us if we know developments are coming in close to the end of the school year. Every year there's always cases where we rush to pick up some traffic counts knowing that we still need to go through the scoping process. So it's not foolproof. There's always some that don't quite make it, but they really do need to be collected while school is in.
The developer would have to.
Well, yeah, and most developers know this. So, like Laura
Yeah.
just mentioned, typically at May, they'll probably get a rush of, oh, we gotta get these counts done, we gotta get these counts done. But most of the developers know this, and so, summertime is typically slower for us with development anyway. So, I think with the developers knowing that, we'll definitely follow through with, school needing the counts, and that's a DOT requirement as well,
Yeah.
so I think, everybody will be on the same page on that one.
Thank you.
Any other questions? I think most of mine were answered. Now, what time, would the TIA, or how far along would it be when it normally would come to us? Would we get the TIA information by our meeting?
Yeah, so typically we would have that TIA completed before the project is coming before y'all and council. So that way when we're in these planning board meetings, y'all will have our identified mitigation, and any review and comment from town and NCDOT staff.
Okay, and you were mentioning one thing that you said what you were doing was a little bit different than NCDOT, like I forgot exactly because I don't have that in front of me. But
The score of D.
yeah, the score.
Okay, the level of service?
Yeah, does
Yeah.
that mean, can you require, or can we have something like that for NCDOT, or it only applies to the town?
So the NCDOT guidelines are set the way that they are, but with the towns, with this new ordinance language, the level of service requirement is more conservative in the town language. And so if the town is requiring the study in addition to NCDOT, then this more conservative language would govern. So y'all have essentially, by adopting this, you're raising the bar in terms of when we're gonna require mitigation at intersections around the town.
Okay, that's good.
So to kind of build on Randy's question, is it by ordinance that the TIA is required when council sees the project, or is that some other law?
It's not could make,
ordinance change?
you could make a recommendation to that. I mean, I'm not sure. I know you, that's been discussed before and it hasn't really gotten anywhere at the next level, so, I mean, you can make that, you can make that recommendation, so.
But you're saying we will have that.
I think we will at least have the information you guys need to make an informed decision. And I plan to have, again, one of the reasons why we brought Kimley Horn on was to have them be able to come to these meetings and present their findings to you. So,
Understood. And presumably doing it with the town's best interest rather than developers, which is good. So
Right.
we just think we've seen a number of developments come in front of this board without that information, and I think we'd be more inclined, or certainly more informed, when we make a decision.
and I also think by using, you know, the same consultant again and again, that we'll be able to get those results a lot faster. So I don't think we'll have, we don't want the excuse from the developer saying, oh, well, my TIA consultant was, you know, they're busy or whatnot. So I do think, I mean, I think we would run a lot smoother having the same people doing the request for us.
I also think the fact that they're being involved will make the public happy, because the public is not happy sometimes with the traffic that's gonna come with developments, and getting involved with being proactive, I think.
I think you're being generous by using the word sometimes.
Do the capitalism.
Andrew, maybe one more caveat. So yes, so for when NCDOT and the common pattern for them is to send it to congestion management, right? Especially on the larger projects, you know, if it's a really small project, they might just keep it at the district and review. But in the larger projects, they'll send it to congestion management in Raleigh. So technically by law, by the legislature's written timeframes, they've got two 20-business day windows, and y'all may know this already, but two 20-day windows. The first one is a completeness review, where they look at it and say, you know, go through and compare it against their policy and their guidelines on how it was analyzed and so on and so forth, and then send a note and says it either is or it isn't. And then they have another 20 business days to actually do the review and issue comments back. That's true whether it goes to Raleigh or not, but typically, you know, if it stays at the district level, the local level, you know, the district engineer will go through a little quicker. So to get to that point, we we do the traffic study and sign and seal that study. Then it gets submitted. So at that point, we're complete, with the exception of having feedback from the town, and then from DOT. We could bring that to y'all, you know, in an instance, let's just say if the developer is wanting to accelerate things and say, all right, let's get ahead of this from a land use entitlement perspective. And then if there are things that come at it from a DOT perspective afterwards, then they would have to abide by that requirement as well. But in any event, I just wanted to highlight that little caveat that there is a timing difference of whether we want to press forward with our signed and sealed report, or if it's that plus having a final completed answer by NCDOT. And the TMA, the Transportation Mitigation Agreement, would typically include all those requirements, right, from everybody. So anyways, there's just a lot of nuances in how we look at that timing. And at some point, there's going to be pressure and I think interest in accelerating, and it's like, let's get it through even though we don't want to wait too much on the typical DOT process to at least begin the planning board and council deliberations. So I don't know if that makes it more complicated or you know, or easier to think through.
Well, I think it helped that, at least that TTM helps us, because sometimes I feel like we're being rushed by the developers to make a decision for them. And as long as we have some type of memorandum that from you guys to talk about where you feel the impact is and what the mitigations need to be, then I think as a board, we would feel a little bit less pushed to make a decision in
Okay.
the short amount of time frame that we have to look at a development.
Okay, yeah, we'll certainly have our report completed, whether it's a full TIA or a TTM.
Okay. Any other questions?
This one's for Andrew. Andrew, this document that was in our packet, is this what's gonna be the UDO? I mean,
Yes.
this whole thing right here?
Mhm.
Can I just make one word change?
You can make as many word changes as you would like.
On the very, very first page, on that very first sentence, when it talks about transportation system integrity, and it says, when a significant development is proposed, I want to change the word significant to any. When any development is proposed.
I think we can do that.
Thank you.
And there's a typo in here. Might as well fix. Let's see, page 8 in here, 16, section 16, traffic signals warrants. The last sentence, engineer's estimate provided by the, it's got a T in front of the, just a typo. Might as well fix that one.
Yep, that's right.
Better to fix it now than after it gets adopted.
And I see how that's gonna be much quicker with y'all doing it, and you do have the background, the more of them you do, and you've already done a lot of this sort of things
Yeah.
in our town. The more of them you do, the easier and quicker I'm sure it'll be,
Yeah,
because you have all the background.
there's definitely some efficiencies as you're modeling, whether it's the same intersections or you already know the background information about the DOT projects or the other developments that are going on. It builds upon itself, so it's definitely more efficient when you're doing all of them.
Yeah, and now, it's a little bit hard for me to understand exactly how it works when you have multiple developments at the same time who have proposed projects but that haven't necessarily done them, or at different stages who ends up having to do certain things. And how do you work that out?
So it depends, at least upfront, it probably depends on where those different developments are in the process. When we run our analysis, we typically will only include developments that have been approved. So if there's other things that are speculated or still in the rezoning process, or maybe are coming down the line, we typically will not include those in our analysis. And then as those developments come in line, they may then have to include whatever other developments were approved before them. But there's always cases where developments are happening at the same time, and maybe both going through a TIA, and then they find that a particular lane is required in both studies. And so that, again, it will probably be case by case and working with Andrew and his team to determine if there's some way for those developments to cost share, and both contribute to the construction of that improvement, or if one development takes one turn lane and one takes another. It would definitely be case sensitive and specific to what's being warranted and the timelines of those developments, to make sure that you don't end up with a first person in, or to make sure that everyone is responsible for their particular impact to the intersection, and doesn't come like a first come, first served situation.
Yeah, I mean, we have some developments that are already on the books, but have not happened and may never happen. And there may be things that they're responsible for that somebody else will, I guess if they build it first, will be responsible for. Is that correct?
So at least guess on DOT, so NCDOT roads, they will typically take the stance that if there are lanes that are tied to an approved development that is included in a TIA, and this new development comes in, they're ready to construct, that you would be responsible for any of those previous lanes. Now, sometimes that creates some tension between development and the needed transportation infrastructure. So it would probably be, again, a case-by-case scenario of if that new development is required for those previous improvements, or if that's a good opportunity to look at maybe a TTM scenario of, if these other developments aren't here yet, what is this new development actually responsible for? So we can get a clear understanding of how those improvements kind of break out between the different projects that could be coming in.
Yeah, I was thinking of something, say they were similar and they each created about the same amount, that one who actually built it would end up being, maybe the other one would come and got approved first if they hadn't done anything. The new one may have to do that then. Is that correct?
So it would probably depend on the timing, and that's where some of that cost sharing could be considered, or we need to look at other options to improve the intersection. It really would probably be case by case of when the different developments are coming in line and what the specific commitments were for each one.
Yeah, and if we had one who wasn't doing anything, okay, they got approved, but they're sitting there, they're not started, they're not really doing anything. I'm just thinking, is it gonna get built?
Mm-hmm. And that may be a situation where if development one is just kind of sitting there not doing anything and they made a commitment to a right turn lane, and development two at the same comes in, they're moving full steam ahead, had a commitment to the same right turn lane or additional lanes that were dependent on that right turn lane being in place. That may be a situation where we look at the TTM scenario of, if this development that's just sitting here, if they don't come in, what's needed in that instance. So it's definitely going to be dependent on the particular developments and their timelines. So there's probably not like a one size fits all answer. But we could certainly take a look at what's really required for each development that is that makes sense relative to the size and the level of traffic development or traffic generation.
Now, if initially they come in, okay, you don't need to do this because somebody else is doing it, and can that change what's required at the particular time? Can that change?
So typically once a study comes through this process and there's an approved TIA, we don't typically, I guess from a town standpoint, I don't think there's any avenue for y'all to just require additional mitigation, unless there were instances maybe where we needed to reanalyze because certain developments were happening or not happening anymore. But you typically wouldn't just be able to change the mitigation without some type of reason or conversations with the development team.
I was just thinking of, okay, they created this is still fixing or mitigating what they're creating. We could end up not getting what we need by some developments not building, basically.
And I guess the protection around that is that TMA, so the Transportation Mitigation Agreement, is that once we go through the TIA process, we'll develop that TMA that outlines all the commitments of the development and the timing of those. And so that will need to be reviewed, approved, signed by town, NCDOT, and the developer. So there is an additional level of commitment and documentation around the improvements and their timeline that y'all would have to fall back on in cases where people maybe weren't building the things that they had committed to.
Okay, thank you.
But you still got the CO, right? So let's just say a development comes in and you got two phases. They build phase one and they're transportation improvements, but then phase two, they wouldn't get a C, if they build the second phase, they're not gonna be able to get a CO until their additional phase two transportation improvements are in place, correct?
And with the TMA that we're not gonna require,
Yeah.
now we'll be able to track that a lot better.
Yeah.
So, and then, and if we're slacking on it, they can give us a little kick in the pants and say, come on. You know, but I think that TMA is gonna help a lot, and I don't know, it may even be able to address this, you know, your mitigation is based on this development and making a, you know, mitigation of some standpoint, so if that mitigation falls through, then maybe that's a circumstance we do, you know, a technical memorandum, just to make sure that, something, we're not missing something.
I just don't wanna see certain things that's already on the books, okay, it don't happen, something else does and it don't get done because somebody else was supposed to do it, but they never did do it or never going to do it. That's my concern.
But you also gotta remember in that situation, if they're not, if development one isn't doing what they're supposed to be doing, it's because they're not developing the property.
Right.
So you might not be having that traffic go out on the highway.
Yeah.
So, again, it's, you know, they're mitigating their traffic.
Right.
So if it's not being developed, then they're not generating that traffic to their site.
No, yeah, I understand that, but development two, it's just a little confusing if development two creates the same amount of traffic, but somebody else was supposed to go ahead and put that turn lane in, say, and they're not gonna build it, but we didn't know that. And they don't really require another additional turn lane, maybe that was enough for both, I don't know. I'm just,
Yeah, I mean,
cause I don't understand this stuff like y'all do.
It sounds like if one was required 100-foot turn lane and the other one said, okay, we already have that, you can add 50 feet to it. And now you gotta come back to them and say, no, you don't add 50 feet, you gotta build your own turn lane.
Then they may have to build 100 foot instead of 50 or something.
Right.
That's doable, is that correct?
Yeah, and that's where just case by case we would determine, do we need to run additional analysis to figure out is 100 feet good, do you still need the 150, and what's reasonable to accommodate the impact of that particular development.
Okay. I might be overthinking this, I don't know, cause I don't understand all this completely. It's pretty complex.
It can be, but hopefully with having some consistency, we can help explain all of those detailed things to y'all and, happy to answer any questions y'all have, and, I'm sure we'll run into some of these questions in real life as we have a lot of developments going on in town.
Okay. Any other questions?
Just one, and this is, I mean, it's not really important to adopting all this work that you've done, but on the TMA, if a developer fails to meet the trigger points and the deadlines, are there penalties?
It's a good question. I think that's probably something we need to consider. I mean, we do have our violation, I believe it's section 11 or 12 in the ordinance, we could probably fall back on if we needed to. But, I mean, it could be part of that agreement. So, that's definitely something to consider.
Yeah, 'cause I don't think we technically define that in this language, so whether it gets built in somewhere else or is part of the agreement, we can talk through that.
Yeah, I think maybe adding that to the agreement might be the way to go.
Mhm.
Because then we have their signature on it.
Right, yes. Mhm.
So would we need to amend it to add that, or would that
I mean, if you
go
want to
somewhere else?
if you just want to, make maybe some kind of a recommendation to add that, you know, some kind of a language regarding, deadlines and violations into that
Mhm.
TMA agreement.
Mhm.
I think we could look at that, maybe more some kind of, language put in, if that makes sense.
Well, I'm thinking through the details of this, so would not meeting a deadline, right? So things change in the market. Let's just say we got a 3-phase project and it's over a 10-year period.
Right.
And so phase one gets built, phase two gets built, and then market crashes, I don't think there's any way to force a developer to go build phase three, right? And which would include their improvements for phase three. So I don't think, I mean, I'm not an attorney. You're right, we need the attorneys to chime in, but I don't think we can force them to either build the development or put the improvements in if they haven't built the phase three, right? So what would the penalty be in that scenario? Now, there could be, I could see a scenario where it says, all right, in year 10, if the improvements are not in place, then we have the right to require an update to the TIA, because it's not the thing. Other things have also changed. You know, the surrounding context have changed, traffic volumes have changed. So if it doesn't hit that projection window, then update the TIA for that third phase, for example. I could see something like that for sure. So, but I'm wondering how the penalty thing. What was am I off target with what you were thinking?
No,
on that,
no,
or?
you are on target, because you're talking about, like, for example, phases. Obviously, let's say at the end of phase one, we require a traffic light to be put in.
Yeah.
Well, you're not going to issue a certificate of occupancy to start phase two until that traffic light is put in.
Yeah.
But I mean, again, like Randy, not knowing all of the ins and outs of development and TIAs and roads and stuff, I didn't know if there was a situation other than that where a builder could I'm not saying that they would, but just we'll skip over that, they'll never notice it type thing.
Yeah.
And would there be a penalty or a violation or something?
Yeah, so at least as part of the TMA, we would have whatever those CO or permit requirements are that are associated with the improvements for the overall development or each phase. Which I think then, to Steve's point, if you have multiple phases, then you would kind of have those mile markers along the way that would all be documented within the TMA itself.
But is it really, not necessarily by number of years, isn't it by when they actually complete it, when they do it?
Yeah.
So if the market crashed, they wouldn't be required to do stuff with phase three if they didn't build it.
Yeah,
So
and I guess from the traffic study standpoint, we obviously make assumptions on the years for the different phases, or for the overall development in our analysis. But if they haven't built those later phases and they're not generating the traffic, then they may not need those improvements tied to the phase until they really build all of those buildings.
To build on that, because we have a lot of builders who will start a phase and then they'll sell to another developer. So let's say, again, you're in a situation, one developer finishes phase one and they're responsible for putting in a traffic light, but then they sell out their development to another developer, who then, is it then their responsibility to put in that traffic light, or are we penalizing the first one?
Yeah, that's the development. I
The
mean,
second
you
one.
chime in, but yeah, it would be the issuance of the COs. So whoever owns it at that point in time is the one that's responsible.
Okay.
So it transfers rights with that, or
Okay.
requirements with that transfer of the property.
And I guess technically whenever there's that sale and transfer, like there may be some terms in the sale of who's financially responsible. But from a town standpoint, whoever owns the property is required to put in the improvements via the CS.
Yeah. I'll use Brookside as an example. There are some off-site sidewalks that are required to be built that, you get pushback by the second owner of the property, but it's like, you bought the property. Those are conditions of the development. So
Okay.
suck it up and do it.
So you're getting pushback. What happens if?
It's not so much pushback. It's just like, it's almost like when the kid's punished. Oh, but mom. It's like, no, sorry, that's a condition of the rezoning.
Mhm.
You need to go ahead and do it, and then they'll do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
They want to get CO, right?
They typically want this.
They want those. Okay, I got it. Thank you.
positive recommendation from you tonight, council, on August 8th.
Okay, thank you, Laura.
Thank you.
Okay, is there a motion regarding the text amendment TA 2406? Oh, well, sorry, I gotta open up the public meeting first, even though there's nobody here to speak. Now open the meeting up for public comment. Anyone who'd like to speak? Okay. Now close the public comment time. And I'll ask again, is there any questions, any other questions from the board? Okay, is there a motion regarding consistency, or, motion regarding recommendation of text amendment TA 2406?
I recommend approval of text amendment case number TA-24-06 as presented, with the 2 word changes in the document.
Okay, we have a second.
Second.
Who's third?
I heard Brent first.
Well, he's, you, we have a quorum, so you don't.
Daryl.
Okay. Okay, we have a motion by Karen and a second by Daryl to approve text amendment TA 2406 with the 2 word changes. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed signify by saying nay. Okay, we need a motion regarding consistency statement of TA 2406.
With regard to case number TA-24-06, I make a motion regarding consistency of this action, that this text amendment, with the 2 word changes, is consistent with the 2018 strategic plan and Unified Development Ordinance, and reasonable and in the public interest, as it is consistent with the goals of the Troutman strategic plan.
Okay, is there a second? Okay, motion by Karen, second by Daryl. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed signify by saying nay. Case number TA 2405, text amendment to UDO section 10.5.2, design review board membership. Request to amend section 10.5.2 to allow for out of jurisdiction applicants to serve as a design experts for the design review board. We'll now turn it over to Andrew.
Okay, thank you. This text amendment is actually brought to you at the direction of town council, and this would allow for residents outside of the planning and zoning jurisdiction to serve as the required design expert, and it would also add a second alternate position to the design review board, and that's consistent with what we have for planning board and the board of adjustment. The way the language reads, and this is in your packet, the first sentence here is, the design review board shall consist of a total of 5 voting members, 2 alternate members, and 2 non-voting ex officio members as follows. I crossed out A, which basically says that they have to be inside the corporate limit or the extraterritorial jurisdiction. B says we have to have 1 member that's a design professional. And then C again just mentions the alternate language about the ETJ or the town limit membership. And then D just says that the 2 ex officio voting members, one is the town council member, and the second would be the planning director or somebody in the planning department. And this is basically because we've had a hard time finding design professionals apply for these boards in town. So we're opening up so we can hopefully get a better applicant pool. And again, this was at the direction of council. I did present this to the design review board a couple months ago, and they seem to be on board with it. So right now we're just kind of trying to clean up the ordinance language. And that's the basic gist of it, so, any questions I'll take?
Are you opening up to people who live in Troutman or Iredell County?
Iredell County, basically. They don't
Okay.
have to live in the jurisdiction anymore,
Okay.
so.
Is there wording that limits it entirely?
There's not the way it's written.
Yeah, so I guess my question is what prevents someone with motives that are not the best interest of Troutman to apply, get on the board and do who knows what?
I mean, I guess,
We can
I
come
mean,
on.
seriously,
I mean, ultimately,
Well, yeah.
the appointment is ultimately approved by the town council, so, they would have final say. But, I mean, considering we have had a hard time finding interest in people serving on the board, I don't know the likelihood of somebody just wanting to.
well, I'm just wondering, like, I'm wondering the motives of someone that has no personal interest in Troutman or the county wanting to be on the board.
And again, this is a design professional, so maybe that could potentially be a good thing. They're looking at it from a professional landscape.
Any other questions? Okay. I will now open the meeting up for public comment. Does anyone like to speak? Kim, was there any? I'm just gonna ask. Now close the public comment time. Any other questions from the board? Okay, is there a motion regarding recommendation of text amendment TA 24-05?
I recommend approval of text amendment case number TA-24-05 as presented.
Is there a second? Lauren. Okay, and motion was made by Karen, second by Lauren. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, signify by saying nay. Okay, now we need a motion regarding consistency statement of TA 2405.
With regard to case number TA-24-05, I make a motion regarding consistency of this action that this text amendment is consistent with the 2018 strategic plan and the Unified Development Ordinance and reasonable and in the public interest as it is consistent with the goals of the Troutman strategic plan.
I need a second. Okay, motion made by Karen, second by Lauren. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, signify by saying nay. Okay, all that was unanimous. Other business, is there any other business?
Well, since I've drafted this agenda, I do have something to announce. Hopefully next time that we meet, I'll be able to introduce you to a new associate planner for the town of Troutman. So we've got somebody that's accepted the offer. Now, if they show up, that's another story. But
So does this mean you are?
yes, I am.
Congratulations.
I am the planning director. Thank you.
Congratulations.
I appreciate that.
Congratulations.
But I'm hoping to be able to introduce you to a new employee, which is well overdue.
Yes.
I had one question during other business, if that's okay.
Go ahead.
What is the procedure for making an alternate not an alternate besides time and investment on the board?
Kim, do you need?
Okay, so if there's a vacancy of someone stepping down or resigning, then the alternate is automatically taken to council for recommendation to go, if it's ETJ, to go to county. Otherwise, once that, say, position comes open and it's up for renewal and they're not reelected, if they're running again and they're not appointed, then council can appoint any other applicant, so would have to apply. anybody on the board that's an alternate, that's a voting member coming open and there's an alternate, if they know that, or they know that position's open, they can apply for that position. But they have to apply. Okay?
Any other comments, questions? Okay, is there a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye. You're really good at that, Daryl.
Anybody opposed? Gets to stay. All right, meeting's adjourned.